Okay, process of the brain development that PonderEd education has just organized and discovered is as seen here. Normally, people don't separate brain functions, but we separate brain functions into 6 different steps. And some of them, the first couple of steps are same as the animal brain functions. But difference is that human brain has a little bit higher capacity and the higher or the application, and that's pretty much all. And from starting from the step 3 to step 6, some of the people are able to use each step, and as it goes higher level, the level step 6, which is the highest level, this level, only a few people in the human history could actually use this brain function. Why only a few people in the human history? Well, actually it's like about tens of people, or less than, for sure, less than hundreds, I guess, in the recorded in the human history. Because this is a brain function of the like Newtons and Einsteins and Leonardo da Vinci, or like Eratosthenes, who measured the circumference of the Earth about 2,300 years ago, I think, right? About, yeah. So those people. So there are only just a limited number of the people who were able to use the step 6 brain function, and most of the people then, what brain functions they are using are from here to here. And there are more people in here, and as it goes a higher level, it number drops significantly. So basically this is like if you imagine like a pyramid and upside down pyramid, it goes into like this type of the levels as it goes down. Now, this is probably the first time for you to hear about human brain that having different types of the functions. But these functions are separated because there are some factors added on in each step. So for example, step 1 to step 2, step 2 has extra 1 function added on. And steps 3 have another function added on step 2. So basically it is an accumulation of the functions. Well, so in comparing into the pyramid again, it's the right side up pyramid. So you have less here, but as it goes in, functions are added on and on and on. And this is the most the highest level of the brain functions that human brain so far, not from education, not from PonderEd education. PonderEd education has another set of the education categories which we haven't opened it up yet. But that set of the brain function is a lot higher, a lot more advanced level compared to these brain functions. So there's another set of the brain function. But since there are not even people who are able to really activate all these brain functions, I didn't even open up the second set of the brain functions yet. Now, let's see what is the step number 1. What is the level number 1? Sometimes I refer it as a level number 1. I refer it sometimes as a step number 1, but it doesn't really matter because it is a process of the brain development. Now, what is the first brain function that human has in terms of brain evolution? That is instinct. Instinct means that it's the same as the animal instinct. The only difference is that human has a lot more knowledge to survive. and reproduce. Basically, what happens is for the human is that human brain memory capacity increases, and accumulated knowledges and based on the experiences, it's a direct experiences or indirect experiences by looking at, like, let's say you see someone who ate pufferfish, which is the poisonous, right? So the pufferfish, and then the person died. Then you grab the information from that person to in your brain engrave and saying that, okay, pufferfish, if you eat it, you can die. Something like that. You accumulate more information, you have a higher chance to survive. And as you have a higher chance to survive, that means you have a higher chance to reproduce as well, having the baby. So the first step is instinct, but unlike animals, human brain has a higher capacity of the memory. So now that gives that triggers another level of the brain function activity. For example, you have many information stored inside of a brain. Now, when you face one of the situations where you have to meet a goal, for example, let's say, I want to hunt a deer, right? So I want to hunt a deer. Now, what you need the brain do, what does the brain do at this point is that finding tools to use in the hunting. So basically, tools to use in the hunting, where it comes from is the knowledge stored inside of your brain. So let's go back to the pufferfish. Now you know that the pufferfish, it has the poison, and you need to hunt a deer. And this pufferfish killed a person. So what you do is, okay, then this one has a poison. Then can I use this poison to kill the deer? You started thinking about having goals. You set a goal. You set a goal to hunt a deer. And then what you do is you find a tool to hunt a deer, to use in the hunting deer, and you apply it. Then what happens? Now your brain started developing another level of the brain function, which is something I defined as a goal-oriented brain function. So goal-oriented brain function is once you found a way that the information that the inside of your brain, it can be applied to achieve a goal. Now your spectrum of the goals increases. So you can go from the deer hunting, you can go to the rabbit hunting, you can go even elephant hunting. Whatever you think that is, you started looking at different types of the goals, and then now your brain is utilizing all the information inside of your brain. Now this brain function triggers another level of the brain function, which is what I say is objective focused brain function. Objective oriented or objective focused. Well, I haven't really fully defined which expression I'm gonna use for this type of the brain function. This is objective is, well, let's replace this objective as a target. So now this is a target oriented brain function. What's the difference between target and goal is very simple. Generally, people kind of mix up with goals and target. Well, objective is that there's no clear cut in when you're reading the people's description about goals and objectives, but there's a clear differences in here. Goals is the one that what you wanted to have as a set, and then your brain automatically starts finding the methodology to achieve the goals. This is goal-oriented. Target, objective-oriented, or target, to get the target-oriented or something. Target-oriented is, well, I should describe as objective-oriented. So objective-oriented brain function is not from objective. It is from the tool that you need to use. So basically the focus is coming from the tool. Now, as I said in the beginning, goal-oriented brain function, now you started using the poison from the pufferfish to kill a deer, to hunt. And then that brain function is wherever you have goals. For example, okay, I want this time to run for 100 kilometers. Well, no, marathon is like about 25 kilometers. Okay, this is my goal. Then I started going to the that direction by training yourself to achieve the goal. So you set the goal first, and then you find a methodology to achieve the goals. But objective-oriented brain function goes the other way around. Now you have a pufferfish poison, and you have knowledge that it killed the deer. So you have the information, you have this tool as to hunt. Then you started thinking, okay, I have this tool. Where should I use it? What else can I apply for it? And now you have somebody, for example, let's say your society, your kind of like a team had some conflict with some other teams in next village, and then you're competing for the kind of like the power. Then, as you started thinking over and over and how to win, and you couldn't find much of the method. So what you do is you're looking at the pufferfish poison and saying that, okay, can I apply this to kill my competitors? But here, problem started. When you hunt deer, now you can just simply put that poison and then you brush that poison into the tip of the arrow, and then you shoot it. But this time it is the human, and then it is the competitors. They have defense system. They have all this kind of alert toward us. Then, what can you do? You have to find the methodology. So basically, objective-oriented brain function is kind of make the brain kind of widens all the targets, and then as well as a methodology to evolve. So tools are evolving, and then targets are evolving, and sometimes you don't even need a target. You just have to looking at the tool and see where can you use it, and then what else that the targets you can identify with it. So basically, the brain started replacing the target, easy to modify the target, and then you can change the target easily because you have the tools. This is the same as in the military, the soldiers are doing. When they have all the tools to use in the battlefield, and then you can easily go from this target to that target simply because you have the tools to apply to all those targets in different ways. Now, let's go back to make this my explanation a little more clear. Let's go back to the time and then say that it is a Stone Age. Stone Age, when people started using the stones as tools, right? Then let's look at let's say these four are the different types of the stones. One is heavy, large. One is smaller but has a flat bottom, and one has a sharp and very pointy tips, and one has kind of like edges on the sides, and then in these stones. In terms of the knowledge, step 1 and 2, knowledge and experiences, these are all just stones. But when we look at it in more details, as in the one each as a physical characteristic with the physical characteristic, then you see there are differences. Then what can you do? You can use different targets. For example, large, bigger rocks, you can use it to break some of the nuts, very hard shell nuts. And some of the stones that has edges where it look like knife, you just use it to cut the vines or any type of the plants that you need to cut it down. So each different tools for each different targets can be matched in different way. Now you can take a look at, let's think about it in this way. If you have knowledge as a tool, for example stones, then you are not going to be able to really identify. Only thing you have different the application to be popped in your brain is that you have to really looking at the physical characteristic of each stone, and then you have to match with the target. That's objective-oriented brain function. So in this process, one of the key factor added into brain function, that is what I call concepts. Concepts are different from knowledge. Knowledge is just you know this as a stones, but concepts is the one that you identify the physical characteristic by yourself. For example, let's say this one is look like very sharp and it has a very sharp edge, and then you use it for the cutting the vine out of it. Now with this one, you identify the sharp edge, and then because of that, you could apply this tool to cut something that you need, that you need. Concept is the one that you can build based on physical characteristic. If you're looking at the apple, then just having apple as an apple, and you say, oh, apple is for the delicious food, then you go back to goal-oriented brain function, because you are using it to meet your goal, which is you just fill up your stomach. But to have the objective-oriented brain function activated, what you need to do is you need to look at the apple itself, and then you started to explore, okay, the skin is hard and shiny and thick, and inside is juicy and crunchy, and something like this. You find all these physical characteristics by yourself. So this is what I call concepts. Problem is that concept, knowledge, to be conceptualized is that your own brain had to process the information. For example, let's say if I process the information as a concept and saying that, okay, this stone has a sharp edge, and then you can use it to either cut this clothes or whatever what you have, you need to cut it down into 2 pieces or something like that. Then this is being delivered as a knowledge, not concepts. So basically, concepts is the one that whoever would like to utilize the knowledge and the experiences, they have to process the information using their own brain instead of learning how to use the tools. So basically, how to use the tools, if you, let's say, use how to fish salmon, methodology. If you learn from the fisherman, then you are stuck on this step 2 brain function. It doesn't really advance to the next one. Now, because of this, current education system cannot deal with this step 3. The learners had to conceptualize all this knowledge and the experiences by themselves. But education system, what they do is they deliver everything as a knowledge. And as you can see, how to fish, how to play a golf, how to cook. And if you go online and then you looking for the recipes and for the cookings, then you will see that they show how to cook all these food step by step with the details. That's all step 1 and 2 levels of the education. Conceptualization meaning that you have to use your own brain to process all those knowledge and experiences to use on your own, the making dishes or the fish, catch a fish or something like that. So objective-oriented brain function from this level is very difficult for the people to activate it because there's no way to learn. It is on left for that person, every individuals, so they have to do it, and there's no methodology at all, and not even education systems. But there are some of the people who can teach this brain function, but that is individual. Education system, they don't have any systematic way to approach in this brain functions. Okay. Now, having these the tools developed and the result, the targets, the meeting the targets, and then having the targets change it, and all these activities now started triggering another brain function of the human brain. That is what I call curiosity and question. Oh, not the curiosity. This level is not the curiosity. This one is critical thinking. Critical thinking is what current education system is focusing on. They said many of the educational universities and even high schools, that what they claim is that they claim they are trying to develop critical thinking for of the students' brain. But what they do is they are just saying that they do. They cannot really activate critical thinking at all. The reason that the critical thinking being activated for some of the people is coming from right here, objective-oriented brain function. Objective-oriented brain function has many targets, and then now you have a variety of the target, and when you meet a target, then there is kind of chain reaction started happening. For example, let's say you are walking on a trail and you find that there's a little baby rabbit and there's a cat which is trying to hunt this little baby rabbit. And from your viewpoints, now rabbit is in danger. So you kind of interrupted the cat's hunting and you save the baby rabbit. This is you kind of involved in these two processes, and now because of that, baby rabbit survived. Next day, You walk in the trail again, and now you found that this cat, the same cat, has a baby kittens. And these baby cats, now they are very, very hungry, and one of them is dead. Then, because of your action from yesterday, the cat couldn't hunt, and then the baby cats, one of the baby cats died. Then, can you justify your action to save the rabbit? This is chain reaction. One of the meeting the target, and then you apply one of the methodology, and then you meet the target, and then that triggers another reaction, and then because of that, you see some of the results that you didn't expect. So basically, one is the one having as a kind of, this is kind of like a thought process of the causation. You have reasonings, and you have the based on the reasonings, you have the result, and as the result turning into as another reasoning, and based on that, there's another result came up. So basically, it is constantly connecting one another. In this way, you started thinking, okay, how do I justify my action? Especially when it comes to the human and human, the conflict. So as social skills developed, language and social skills developed in these two levels, they started to interact with each other, share the knowledge, but among those processes, now there's a conflict started. And now you have to resolve the conflict. But problem is, if you say that, yeah, saving rabbit is good, just not the cat. But some of the people say, well, cat is also the life form. Why is that cat's life form is better than rabbit's life? How can you justify it? And these conflicts going on and on and on. Then, what can it be done? Thinking process started looking for the reasonings deeper and deeper. But when it comes to the actual thinking process, in these critical thinking processes, you just simply looked at the case that what I provide as an example, cat and rabbit, and cat, the action of the death and survival. When you're looking at this situation, and when you are discussing that which one is right and which one is wrong, can there be any knowledge involved in it? Let's say, okay, Socrates said that this is bad, or oh no, my professor said that this is good, and or no, my friend is voted for the this one A, not B, or something like there's an argument, and there's an reasonings going on, but the thing is that you don't really use knowledge in this discussion. What you need to use is logical thinking only. That's the difference. Critical thinking now moves away from the knowledge and experiences, because now to discuss about the reasonings, you don't need real experiences. You have like any other type of the examples brought up, then you can discuss about it. One of the person who teaches critical thinking that I met, I didn't personally meet, I found was the Professor Michael Sandel in Harvard University. And his lectures are open and public in the YouTube, so you can watch it. And if you watch it, you'll be kind of like thinking, saying that, what does it teach? There's nothing really, the context is not there. Because what he does is he provides cases, just like a rabbit and cat cases, just like what I provided. And he provides one of the examples similar to this, and saying that, what do you think? Do you think that's logical? And how about you? Something like this. So they don't discuss, they don't debate based on with the knowledge. They don't say, okay, President the Trump said this is right. They don't say it. They just only use the logics. So some of the people who are looking for the knowledge, they'll say, well, this guy teaches nothing. I learn nothing. That's probably what people say. Many of them, I heard a lot of them. But in terms of the logical thinking, this is really the case that where the critical thinking developed. For now, let's take a look at a little more deeper. Here, knowledge and experience is one of the key factors to build all these brain functions. But these two steps, starting from step 5, started moving away from the knowledge and experiences. Now, what they are dealing with is concepts only. And because of that, knowledge and concepts, two separate lanes. Now, education still focuses on this because knowledge is visible. Results is there, easier to teach. For example, let's say, hey, pufferfish, don't eat it. It has poison. You don't want to eat it. You don't discuss with the pufferfish saying that, okay, this one has, pufferfish has a poison, and then let's discuss about this pufferfish. You don't do this much in here. And this is the level where most of the scientists or scholarly activities are ongoing in this level. They look at the pufferfish and then looking into the reasonings why, and then what type of the poison in there. And then they go deeper and deeper and deeper. This is where the academia is kind of like digging in. And when it comes to the level 4, step 4, critical thinking, this is completely away from the knowledge and experiences. So you have one case and you started discussing and debating based on the ones and to see which one provides more logical explanation. Whoever provides logical explanation wins the game. That's what the critical thinking is about. So these two brain functions are separated from here. And this is a higher level of the brain function, but still education system is stuck in this level 1 and 2, step 1 and 2. Now, step 5, then what is step 5 and step 6? Step 6 I kind of briefly introduced it already, that step 5 and 6 is creative thinking. So you create new technologies and brand new some of the devices or something like that. For example, the Edison, who came up with electricity light system and those kind of things, and Bell, who invented the phones, and Steve Jobs, who developed the iPhone or some phones and some of the new technologies that for the Apples. These are the people who have been using the type 1 creative thinking, which I call it type 1. This is type 1 creative thinking. Then type 2 creative thinking. What is type 2 creative thinking? This is a little bit different from the type 1. This is what Newton and Einstein's kind of brain function. So basically using the concepts of light, speed of the light, and space, and time, and travel speed, and then using these combination and relativity, Einstein came up with a relativity theory. And that's what type 2 creative thinking. So, and when it comes to the type 2 creative thinking, the technology, the development is way delayed. So for Newton was kind of came up with the concept of the satellite, and then at the time there was no artificial satellite, but when the technology advances and when there's a rocket kind of developed, then now artificial satellite was actually, it came true, right? So this is the differences in between here. Here, technology, type 1 creative thinking is directly applied to the technology development, but type 2 creative thinking is more likely concepts, so that when until it is coming into the reality, it takes a lot of time, sometimes even longer than people can imagine. Then, what is the difference between, I'm going to just tie up these for step 5 and step 6 brain functions together, because they are based on the same thing, and there are differences in between these two, but that's a little more deeper level. So I'm going to, this one is written in a Korean version of the books, but I will probably prepare for the textbook, and then for the classes, and then this textbook I'll have more details in it. But more the key point that I wanted to talk about is that this type 1 and type 2 both are based on curiosity and questions. And curiosity, not all curiosity turning into the creative thinking. There is curiosity actually that mess up the brain and that have the brain kind of boxed in to a very small kind of area. And this type 1 and 2 creative thinking is the curiosity that has to be open up the possibility and open up the areas so that the brain can explore a lot more different areas to connect and simulate the relativity and all those kind of activities. So step 4 and step 5 and 6 are totally separated. Here concept is enough, but here step 5 and 6, based on with the concepts that being conceptualized inside of the brain, now curiosity has to be turned on, and that curiosity has to translate into the questions. And once it is translated into the questions, then these questions have to be modified to find answers. This is very complicated processes. Not very complicated, but a little bit more complicated, because you have to conceptualize many different knowledge to use it. One of the biggest challenge is curiosity, because this is known. Einstein said that his brain doesn't really work in different way from others. He said that the differences from others is that the curiosity and questions, and especially the curiosity is one of the things that it cannot be really turned on automatically. Well, for those geniuses, they were able to turn it on, but for the people, in neurotypical people, they are not able to really turn on automatically. Because of that, this area of the education, nothing. Up to here, critical thinking, there are people who are able to teach, like Michael Sandler in Harvard University. So there are seldom you'll find people who can teach. Most of the education focusing on here, so level 1 and 2, and these are the ones that the people, the education that you see in average school, where you go to the secondary, where you go to the university, where the lecturer came in saying that, okay, the justice, meaning this person says justice is described in this way, and this person described in this way, in theory, or in theory, like but theoretically, they're like in the trees, absorb the energy from the sunlight and then turning into the carbohydrate or something like that. And this lecturer came in and provided all the knowledge, and with the hoping for the experiences in there. So that's why university added experiment, the lab courses in the regular, one of the requirement in students' education. Here, step 3 is more likely laboratory level, which means that the PhD level. So basically, the research levels are up here. So, and not all the researchers are using objective-oriented brain functions. Many of them are still using level 2, but 1 or 2 are out of like about 20 or something are able to really use these tools to have their research advanced. And those are the people who are well-known scientists or well-known scholars and well-known researchers. And here, the creative thinking is more likely philosophers, like having trying to explain what is life, what is love, where it comes from, and what's the meaning of it, and try to explore what the true meaning or the basis of the logical basis of some of the judgment or decision making are the ones that this creative thinking is ongoing. Because here some of the concepts related to the knowledge are closely related, but here critical thinking level, the knowledge, you don't really need it. You need only concepts only. And here, creative thinking, education system, there's no one can teach, not even geniuses. Newton couldn't teach students to be like him. Einstein couldn't teach students to be like him. So basically, that means that this area, there's no learning or teaching methodology at all. Now, the PonderEd education, what we do is we provide education aimed for right here in level 6 brain function. The reason, as I mentioned earlier, each step there are factors added on it. So step 2 has added new additional factor compared to step 1. Step 3, additional factor compared to step 2. And step 6, level 6 brain function has all these 5 functions built in. In addition, there's one more function added in. Then, why not going directly to this level? When we target this level, then everything else in here are included. And as the education goes through with the level 6 brain functions, entire brain functions up to level 6 are automatically building in. So this is what we are gonna develop, the tools for the education to develop level 6, basically Newton and Einstein's brain functions to be developed in the learners, for the learners. Okay, so this is starting from curiosity, turning on the curiosity, and then to turn on the curiosity, there's prior the brain functions to to process the information, and then as it goes, like a hypothesis and looking for the answers, and by changing the questions, these are all the processes that we have developed and organized. It is very systematic, step by step, and I guarantee if you take these educations and then if you follow and practice yourself, your brain will reach to the genius level down in the road. Okay, so the brain function starts from conceptualization of the knowledge and the experiences, and connecting concepts and expanding it, and expanding the concepts by curiosity, and how to questions, how to change the questions, and these are the key functions. Now each step as it advances, there are the main differences coming from the questions. There are different types of the questions activate different types of the levels of the brain function. This is how the human brain evolves, and this is how the brain development being done inside of the human brain. Most of the people using these two steps, and rarely this, and probably really rare for step 6. So, well, now that's what current education system look like. This type up to here, they can handle it up to from step 3 to the 6. Very difficult and challenging. This is why, based on this development, all the services that we are providing is for the brain development, for the brain learners, and all those organizations whoever interested in the systematic brain development. Okay, all right. So this is for the neurotypical people's brain development, and I have another introduction video for the autism.